Hi everybody, hoping you give me a quick 5 minutes. I'm going to do two updates this week separately. I wanted to do one in particular on patient records management. So first of all, just wanted to acknowledge the work and effort that a lot of the team around patient records has put into some of the work we've been doing and rethinking where we are and what we need to do. So particular shout out to Nia Aspinall, Nia Harrison, and Harad Wiggins, and also the wider teams, Terry and West, Jane, Sian, Lisa, etc., and the wider team. So appreciate all the effort and thinking and the like that's gone into this. A paper went to the exec management team this week on Wednesday to make some clear recommendations on what we should do with the various uncoordinated and unconnected patient records related projects. We all know, well, if we don't, you're going to find out now, we all know that the quality and integrity of our patient records, coupled with the clinical recording standards, that is the way in which clinicians record things, has been highlighted as a potential cause of issues and even harm by numerous external assessments and inspections. So the way things are now, the way we record patient records in a mix of different ways and sometimes inconsistent ways is not conducive. Well, it's causing problems, it's causing risks, and it's something that has to be addressed. The starting point for that, for me, is that we need to coordinate all these different streams of work that are interconnected, in my opinion, under one overall program. Yeah, I appreciate the scale and complexity of this, but it's something we need to do. Everyone agrees with that now, certainly in terms of exec management team. And what is being suggested, and I appreciate we do need to think about identifying a program manager to come in and do some of this, provide some of this support. But what is being suggested is potentially 4 streams of work. One stream is on the clinical record standards. So Gareth Evans, the Exec Director of Therapies, is willing to be the SRO for that. That is us making sure clinicians are recording things in a consistent way, safe way, and doing that as it should be. There is not a clear stream of work defined for that at all. There's no scope. There's no idea really how we're going to do that. That is the reality of that. But it's something we need to get sorted. So something there needs to be scoped out. Number 2, we need to look at doing some discovery work in mental and community health. There is, I've not seen any evidence or understanding of what's going on in mental and community health in terms of patient records management or standards. Who knows what's going on in there? And with due regard to previous interventions and the like from Welsh Government, it's an area we need to look at. And I appreciate that means raising a rock and seeing what's underneath it and maybe thinking, oh my God, but something we've got to do. So there's a stream of work there. There's our CETO DHR program. This is a massive and complex program. So Angharad Wiggins, Angharad has been program managing that. Appreciate in the past Danielle was front and centre of a lot of this. So in our considered view and opinion, having looked at the CETO product, the capability of the CETO product, Angharad and Nia have been on various site visits to see how it's optimally used and how we get the most benefit from it. There's been workshops and discussions with Civica, the supplier. We've decided that we want to focus on what the CETO product is really good at. And what that CETO product's really good at, and I've seen the demos of it, it's really good. It's a really good electronic document records management system. It's not necessarily an electronic patient record system. What do I mean by that? What's the difference? Well, an EDRMS, an electronic document records management system, is something that can take a document, could be a paper document, in this case of paper, potentially scanning it in and having it in there as a electronic version of that document, almost like a PDF. It might have a wrap around it in terms of metadata, so you can search it and find it quickly. You can combine these in an appropriate order, in appropriate bundles, or whatever you want to call them in the health record world, so we can see maybe for a particular patient, clinicians can find these documents, these electronic documents, as long as they've been into the system, very quickly. You could see a longitudinal record, a lifetime record of where these different points are, maybe from different specialties, and be able to view and access those records quickly and efficiently across the health board. There is also the ability through this eForms technology that you can potentially enter stuff in directly into the CETO product, but it's not necessarily pure codified data. It's ultimately producing an electronic record, an electronic document, I'll call it, an electronic document from either the eForms or directly from a PC or a device. So by focusing on what it's really good at, as opposed to some of the things it is not good at and we've struggled with, we are hoping that we can get that rolled out as broad and narrow scope as possible to give us the most benefit and address some of the issues we've got around paper patient records. The fact that lots of our storerooms are full, there's no room, there's poor accommodation, so on and so forth, and the fact that the inconsistent way in which patient record management goes on historically, I guess, across the different sites, hopefully starts to get addressed from that. So a hell of a lot of work there for Angharad to get that program rescoped super fast, and the communication, the engagement, and all of that needs to go around that to make sure that is a success. So that is only one stream as part of the overall program, but a massive program and piece of work that clearly Angharad and others, of course, will be working on and resorting out. So very keen for that to be rescoped soon as and a board set for that, and then the board sign that off, get that signed off as soon as possible. There's also the paper records management piece. Paper records management is here for a while to stay. Let's not kid ourselves to say that we're going to get off paper record management just like that. We're not. Let's be realistic about that. Therefore, we need to optimize with the way we do that. We need to make sure there's consistent policies and practice and ways of working. There's training in terms of, what do the ward clerks do? What do it bleeds into the clinical record standards bit. What do clinicians do? How do we make sure that when the paper records are managed, we retrieve them, we pull them back, and all that, it's done in the optimal way. Big piece of work there. I know Nia Harrison is front and centre of some of that. Really important. Similarly, I know it'll be very, key people. The teams in there, key people like Terry, Shan and Jane across the different sites and the teams. A lot to look at there, and a lot to get that working optimally across the sites and coming back with clear recommendations for how we do things and standardising some of the policies and the like around that. And obviously that links into IG, it links into clinical safety and the like. The final thing, so all of that has been agreed, and that's what we're going to do. So clearly we do need to try and identify an overarching program manager, which is going to be a task in itself. We do need to potentially identify resources to do the mental and community health. There's no resource for that at all now. And similarly, the clinical record standards. We've also got some new SRO, Senior Responsible Officers. So the chair of the Clinical Record Standards Board, when it's established, will be Gareth Evans. He's the Exec Director of Therapies. He'll be our clinical lead. He will link into our CCIOs. He will link into Amber, who's done a lot of great work in this regard, and others. The SRO for Patient Records Management stream and for the new CETO EDRMS project, or whatever we're going to call it, will be me. So I will be chairing that, and my expectation is that some good rigour around and simplicity around what we're doing, when we're doing it, who's doing it, and tracking that with a lot of rigour. And I'm expecting those program boards, project boards, to be set up pretty soon. So you heard it here first. But a lot to communicate out to everyone, not just in digital, not just in the informatics team, digital teams, but also across the organisation as a whole. So I just wanted to give you that update on patient records management. It's a seminal piece. It's a real key aspect of our service plan. It's an area we must get right if we're going to provide good quality care to patients, and if we're going to do that in an efficient and effective way. Appreciate there are other problems and the like that's going to come out of that. The fact that we are actually recording in some cases in siloed data systems and all that, it's not going to solve everything, but we're going to get clear what we are solving, and we're also going to get clear what's not in scope. So, next 3 or 4 weeks, September time, I'm expecting all these things to be set up and clearly defined, and hopefully we'll be motoring along. So thanks very much for listening. Again, any questions or anything on any of these sort of things, please drop me a note, drop me an email, or drop me an IM. Instant messaging is fine through Teams. Really open to instant messages, and I will get back to you at some point. Realise I'm really busy, back to back in meetings and the like, but we can do things in an asynchronous way. And also at the same time, catch up, link in with Nia Aspinall, Nia Harrison, and Harad. They know as much. They know all of this as well, and are going to be communicating and leading a lot of these changes. So thanks very much. See you later.